We're used to seeing Ficus microcarpa in particular as a wall tree or growing spontaneously on the slope. And at first glance, you look over from the other side of the road, you think, oh, it's just more banyans growing in slopes. But if you go up a little bit closer, it's a little bit more complicated than that. Let's have a look first at the actual planting area that they're growing in. So we have a superbly ugly concrete slope here, and then at the base a U-channel, right, to take the water off the slope, and then a very, very narrow planter. Now this planter is only like 600 millimeters wide. I mean, the planted area is only about 600 millimeters wide. Now this detail, we're in the 60s part of the estate, but this is not a 1960s detail. This is later on. So what I think may have happened is that maybe because, hang on, just a minute, up there, that's the 1970s estate up there. So that's phase 2, which is the 1970s. So that makes a bit more sense. This is a 1970s retaining wall detail. What they've done is they've built a little kind of toe wall. It's called a toe wall. Toe as in toes on your feet, because it's at the toe of the slope. And if you get a little toe wall and a bit of soil volume, you can get some planting to maybe screen in the ugly slope. That's the idea. And these are Ficus benjamina. Ficus benjamina. And you can tell they're Ficus benjamina because if you look at the leaves, if you look at the leaves, which I'm trying to find. Hang on a minute, I did pick one out. Oh yeah. So if we look at the Ficus benjamina leaf, you can see that it's got that little point on the end of it. So that's very distinctive of Ficus benjamina. Now Ficus benjamina does not seed itself. It's not native and it does not seed itself, so these must have been planted. Now you can see they've grown into trees now, and they're way miles too big for this little teensy-weensy planter. However, they've managed to find enough soil volume to grow. What I suspect is that these would have been planted. You see, there's one that just didn't make it and that they cut down. I suspect that these were kind of planted initially as little shrubs, or maybe ball-shaped shrubs, something like that, and then they just simply weren't maintained. So it's lack of maintenance that has allowed these trees to grow up, and the impact of the trees is wonderful. I mean, it's screening the ugly slope, it's giving shade on this corner over here. I mean, they're beautiful, but at some point there's going to be a bit of a problem because the trees simply can't fit into this tiny little planting area, and they're already sending aerial roots out into the drains and trying to get out. Ficus benjamina is not so crazy about making aerial roots, but in a stressful situation like this it will make aerial roots, because it's basically trying to escape. It's restricted and they're trying to get out. Ficus benjamina.